Hello, my name is Joel Wombolt, and this is my presentation on the thought experiment. The first article that I read was probably the most thought-provoking. Orlov spoke about our resources being depleted and running out, and this possibly happening soon. Because of this, people would die. And his way of resolving the issue was to find a way for us to live without these resources, because one day they would be disappearing. This has implications not only for people, but also for businesses. Some industries would simply die without the resources that they needed, such as the automobile industry. They require oil, and if there's no more oil, they will vanish. But other industries, such as farming, even though it is something that is big right now, will just be magnified and it will get larger. And other things, such as general stores or mercantile stores, those will have a rise again, and you will see them come into play. I also believe that money will change. We will go back to the gold standard. Silver might also be used, but that would be for probably the higher ups. But what we would generally see amongst people is a barter system. If you need one good or a service, you would trade it for another. But right now, the industries that we have, if we were to lose all our resources, probably would not make it. They would just vanish. The second article that I read was very informing. I was not aware that the national debts between countries, and Martinson brought that to my attention. Nor was I aware that the Fed printed off money to pay off treasury bonds. The fact that money is even being printed off like that disturbed me, because it has implications for not only the people that are around us, but for businesses as well. The more money that is in circulation lessens the value of the money that is already out there. In other words, inflation. So the money that businesses are already making lessens in value. And the salaries that they pay their employees lessens, and they cannot purchase things that they need, such as groceries for their families, because the money that they have or were going to be paid doesn't have as much value anymore. And the stocks that people may purchase in a company lose their value as well. So all of these things, if more money is just being printed off, hurts businesses entirely. It's not something that is sustainable. The third article by Friedman, I was already kind of aware of. Outsourcing is not something that has been new. We've seen things such as call centers and even manufacturing, because we see things such as cell phones, shoes are a big one, and clothing are a big thing that have been outsourced. So this is not something that is super new. And businesses do this because it's cheaper. And it's good for capitalistic businesses because it lowers their costs and it's relatively the same quality. One thing it does do, though, that I'm not very fond of is it does take jobs away from the country that it is in. So if you're outsourcing to another country, you're losing jobs that could have possibly been there. I know it is a cost thing there, but that is the only issue that I found with it. But let's say that all three of these things happened at once. There were no resources. The governments paid all their debts by printing off as much money as it took, and all the jobs that we had are outsourced. There would be an economic collapse on a global scale. This would affect a business that is not only here, but in other countries. We would see the entirety of the world being affected by it. There would be no value in paper money anymore because there would be so much of it in circulation that the value would just be next to nothing. It probably would be nothing. Because it's not even backed by anything. It would ruin foreign economies as well. The jobs that have been outsourced would be lost, because I mean, like, the economy's over there, the businesses over there would be destroyed, and it would have just lasting effects everywhere. Basically, what would be happening is we would be going back to the Stone Ages. I hope that this presentation has been informative, and thank you for listening.